Okay. So, oh man, lots to talk about. I'm not gonna. I don't feel like editing this, so like I'm not going to edit it to like include the videos that I'm talking about, but I'll put them in the description box if you would like to watch the videos. So here's the first thing that I want to talk about. I saw Tina Noir made a video about Sexy Red. And I thought her take was interesting because she introduced a new kind of topic. It was this idea of what did she call it? Like hood princesses versus price tag princesses. And so price tag princesses are supposed to be like Lotto, Sweetie, the city girls, and then the hood princesses are supposed to be like sexy red. Uh and then I would say not even to be funny or anything, but then if those are the categories, right? Then we have to have something else. I think that Taylor Swift actually would be like literally in the middle of both of them, even though in reality, right? If we're just talking about the music, if we're just talking about the music, then Lotto and I think the City Girls actually might be the best representation of this. Like Lotto does it too, but like I mean the City Girls since they started, they are like price tag princesses. It's just every song. If you're going straight on lyrics here and like, who claims what, then the hood princess is like sexy red, but the regular girl is Taylor Swift. Now, when you look at this, when you look at that just in terms of the music, right? Because everybody gets to create like a persona for like what type of girl they want to be. Um, like I mean, Taylor Swift is like so far, like she is so much wealthier than all of those people put together, but she is representative of the average girl. Like her songs and her music represent most girls in America. Maybe like Olivia Rodrigo might be a more appropriate symbol because she's like way earlier in her career, and so like her net worth is like a lot less than Taylor Swift. But we're talking about like the things that they're talking about and their relatability. Okay, they are extremely relatable. Um Now, here's something I think to continue to go. I could talk a little more about like hood princesses, which I don't even know what that means because like the there are a lot of like conflating concepts here. Like a lot of people live in poverty, right? So if you're like if you grew up in poverty, so meaning like your family might be large, your parents don't make very much money, like this all things are not simply packaged. Like there are people who live in poverty who have both parents, so it could be a mom and a dad. So some people always attribute poverty to like single parenthood. That's not necessarily true. I would even say in this day and age it's not even mostly true. Like it's just like poverty is literally about money and income and resources and like your and lifestyle choices, right? So, um, where was I going with this? So there are girls who just grow up poor. So like they just can't afford stuff. They might not be able to afford ballet lessons. They might not be able to afford college prep courses. They might go to a very impoverished neighborhood high school, things like that. So like they don't have much access, and so they might not have they might not be familiar with like the culture in some parts of society. So like internships or like I don't know, middle class jobs, suburbs. I feel like everybody's familiar with public transportation, so I wouldn't say that. But yeah. Now, some people, and I don't even think it's some people. I would say I feel like most racial groups they grow up pretty segregated. So like even if you're like a lower income or like a lower middle class, let's say like Latino family, you might not have any black neighbors or even any Asian neighbors or even any white neighbors because your community is probably going to be like 100% Latino. Same thing if you're black, same thing if you're white, actually. If you live in an upper class, like an upper middle class neighborhood, it's probably going to be pretty white and Asian. And if you live in like a really, really destitute part of the country, it's probably going to be and Latino, black and or Latino. That's just how like the economic demographics break down. Now, some of this is kind of interesting because wherever it is that people, whatever way that people grew up, if you were born in America, and I've said this before, so like you have American citizenship, like your number or whatever counts, okay? And like when I was at the DMV, there were all these like videos of like they were trying to encourage people to become like corrections officers. And the video for the corrections officer had all of these other people like trotting back and forth behind the corrections officer. And I guess the point of it was like, you get to help all of these people. Because, like, I don't know, some of you guys watched, like, Orange is the New Black, that TV show that kind of normalized jail culture and kind of introduced a lot of us to, like, jail culture. Just, like, what it is and how they talk and things they do. And there's also this, like, Lady Gaga video with Beyonce that's about, like, prison culture. And all of it was interesting. It was all interesting. But that isn't really the point. The thing that's interesting about prison culture, drug culture, poverty culture is kind of this idea of like someone else telling you what to do. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. And I also just kind of want to make it clear, it's something that I feel like I've learned as a Black American. Like, you literally kind of always have to like announce yourself and like distinguish yourself, like introduce yourself to the other parts of the populace so that they understand what it is that you are going through and how you like what it is that you stand for. Because for so many people, they have like racialized behaviors. Like, people think that all Black women are just like angry Black women all the time, so now anger is a feeling that is racialized. Violence is something that has been racialized. Oh, Black women, they're so angry and violent. Oh, those witches. Oh, those awful people. Obviously, like, if you have any sort of intellect at all, you'd be able to understand like people get angry for a reason. There's like a root cause of the anger. But I'm telling you, like, that concept is very difficult for some to understand, and this gets me to my next point. So I saw another video with this guy, Chris Helmsworth or whatever, and he's like sitting there talking about how he was like, I guess they were talking about the down part of the bad part of feminism. Oh, here's what's wrong with feminism, right? And I was like listening to it, and it was just like, I feel so happy that I saw this, because I think it's important for, as a feminist, to like understand who your enemies are. Like, and he was like, I don't want to marry someone like this. I don't want my children to be like this. And I want to talk about like a reason, like, and then he goes on to make this point. He's like, yeah. Oh, the other guy who he was talking to was like, yeah, you're going to be like 50 years old with a cat in an apartment, and you're going to look back at your life and be like, oh, I'm so miserable. I'm so miserable. And I just want to say, like, if you're a woman in society, in American society, and you have lived till the age of 50 and you have a cat, you've survived longer than like quite a lot of people on planet Earth. That's like an accomplishment. I think that like men like him are so delusional because like they don't understand, first of all, like how women are like a marginalized, weaker population and group. Like, certain mistakes that you make as a woman lead to death. Like, every day American women go missing, they're murdered, like they are raped, they're killed every single day. Like, the reason that these men are not, like, some men are, the reason that we have to normalize this like sex work and OnlyFans and all this shit is because like the men in society don't have partners that they like. They don't have any at all. Like the women with brains don't want to be around them and they like leave. They leave. They like go back to their families. They go get jobs, whatever they're doing. They're leaving these men. Who else are the men going to like be with? I think the internet has people just really out here tripping, and I feel like especially like if you grow up and you're trying to go out into society and have like a just like a serious, if you're being serious about like what society is right now, like there are some men who have families, okay, and like they have wives and they have children and they like care about these women and they provide for these women and they're trying to like make society better and safer for these women. There's a lot of men though who don't have that. And like they're never going to have that, and like no women like them. And I think that a lot of people are confused about like how many men are in that situation and why it is very dangerous for just regular women. You can't exist like in the same society around them and believe everything is going to be okay. It is not. Like those men become dangerous and violent. Like that's why they're like thieves and like crackheads and they aren't okay. And I think a lot of us are looking at the problems in society and wondering like, how did it get this way? How did it get this way? And I feel like a part of like elitist white society who, because there's like elitist white society, right? Maybe like the WASP type of people. And then there's like white trash. Okay. And like the weird part about white trash in society is like they had every opportunity to not be white trash, and yet here they are still. Like if you're white trash in America, that's actually crazy because like you had every fucking like you had like hundreds of years of a head start. Hundreds of years. You're not like they did not start in the same place as like black Americans who like just got civil rights like 30 years ago. So, I mean, you got to be that. That's a conversation I just don't even have the like. I don't have the time um to try to like it's not even just frustrating, it's kind of pathetic. But anyway, um where was I going with that? Oh, so especially in terms of like women, I think so many white women, especially poor white women, have sort of like used the extreme marginalization of black women to understand their own femininity and try to have like some place in the society. Because like one thing that white women can always say was like, at least I'm not a black person, at least I'm not a black woman, at least I'm not a, and that black women continue to get just like shit. It's not just shit, you get shit from everybody, because you can't play like the beauty card, right, in white America because you're black. And then you might not have the money, right, because you didn't come from like generational wealth. And then you don't like you so you and then you also don't have maybe like the academic history, so maybe you didn't come from like a family of doctors or something, so you don't have that. So you're not just starting from zero, you're starting from like a 200-year like place in the negative, and there ain't no representation of like small steps that could have made it better because nobody gives a shit. So like uh everybody else has been socialized to look at you like Sexy Red, and you might be sitting here like, I don't even know what the fuck this is. Like even I don't like Sexy Red. Like, and then I thought what's her name's video, T Noir's video was interesting because she was talking about how people don't think Sexy Red is attractive. I don't know. I think that like some things just come down to biology. At the end of the day, Sexy Red is like a girl. She's a girl who's not like morbidly obese. So just in terms of like sex, basically, it's probably like simpler for a male to like have sex with Sexy Red because she's smaller. Um, That might not make sense, but I don't make videos for children. So the one DMV one, I made it public so that it's available for children. But I think you should be old enough to understand what I'm saying. Some people don't have the context, I guess. Like, sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes, sex is better with for men. Sex is better the smaller that you get physically, because it is easier for them to like physically dominate you. Now, sometimes this doesn't really make a difference if you're dealing with like athletes or something, because they are just legitimately bigger, and like if you're like just not morbidly obese, then like then the sex seems it can be pretty good. But not even the point, because well, I don't even know if we're like in that. I feel like in normal parts of society, like in the part of society where I live, that is still a thing. It makes sense. But in other parts, because it's like the poorer that you get into society, the fatter people get, the uglier they get. They just, like, men don't like their wives for a lot of reasons. Like, they're just so unattractive. Like, they just, like, quite literally, like, they're unattractive. And then as women get uglier and fatter, they get more like mean and more difficult to be around. And it's like this downstream effect. So what I'm saying is that like this guy Chris, he made the comment of like laughing at women who have cats in apartments. Like, I don't, if you're a woman and you have a cat in an apartment, a cat and an apartment, I don't think that that's like a laughing matter. I think that you should focus on interests. You should, join a book club. There are a lot of issues globally. Like, there are a lot of women globally who need help with things, especially if you're a black woman. You can follow black women in the developing world and help support them and grow their channels, things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are things that you can do to occupy your time, join a cause that would make your life meaningful. I don't think that you need to have a husband and children in order for your life to be meaningful. There are many women who have lived out 50 years, 100 years, okay? And they've done it alone. And this is your life. Like, you can take control of your life and maintain your peace and your safety, like without the need of a male to make it worse. This is why you have to have, I think a lot of people might never have gotten the therapy that they need to become you know a full version of themselves, and so they're still functioning at this place of deficit, and that's a real problem. Like, you do need to fill your own cup. That is like necessary. That's not the point though. Oh, there was something else I wanted to say about so some people are assuming that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, that their relationship is a PR stunt. Um Here's what I will say. It's kind of the same thing with like Tom Brady and Giselle. Like, there are beautiful women in society, like in the world, and no matter what they do, like if they are nuns or if they are school teachers or if they're OnlyFans girls or if they're like waitresses, like whatever they are, the beautiful women are the beautiful women. They just are, right? So men will care. Maybe not like you personally. Like, you might be like, oh, that one girl from wherever, oh, fuck her, like, 'cause she, like, but there's some other men who do care. Like, wherever a beautiful woman will go, there will be men who care. Now, the reason that this is important for the sports players, like, generally, and I'm not saying it's for everyone, but generally, like, women don't really give a shit about sports. Some women do, but like not really most of them. Like, I personally don't give a shit about sports. And growing up, I cared a lot about fashion. Like, I was really, 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 really girly growing up. Like, I didn't even wear pants. Like, it was just very, anyway. Um there was actually a point to this. So yeah, so I think people right now are just going above and beyond to talk about the women who are dating the sports players. Like there's a lot of sports players right now who have like wives and girlfriends, and that's why America tried to create these TV shows, right? Like the girlfriends of this player, the girlfriends of that player. And I think like sometimes I guess it's nice like because those women, they get to have like a lot of privileges, and I feel like typically all of the sports players love Karens. So like we don't really have many examples of like black, Latina, Asian. Like there's not really nothing that's like not white of being like the wives or girlfriends of these players. And like as you see, like a lot of the most beautiful women aren't white. And so I'm not saying all of them, but quite a lot. Like they just don't look like the women who are the wives and girlfriends of these sports players. So we have this situation in society where like there's just no one to look up to who has like the access and privilege to be like kind of like a socialite. Like we have Lori Harvey now, which is great. We have like Cindy Bruna right now, which is great. Um, but we actually, that's all we have. We don't have anyone else. So yeah, it's not even just the black communities. Like all the communities of color, we don't have any just girlfriends. I would say, like, I made a video about like Winnie Harlow and Cuz. I just don't like Winnie Harlow because she has like that skin disease, and it's weird. Like if you don't have that skin disease, like you're just probably not gonna look up to her. Maybe you will. I don't know. I probably wouldn't like, but whatever. Maybe people do. So that's okay. But now, like, at least in the Habesha community, I've tried to like highlight, and I'll put it in the description box, like the Habesha exploration series. So if you're Habesha and you're like, where are all the Habesha girls? Like, I made a list for you of like Habesha girls who you can go follow and just watch them do shit. Okay, look up to those girls. They're like a lot more regular. The things that they're talking about are just a little bit more like relatable, and it makes more sense to just follow those girls, really, because like the reality is like all the sports players don't like black women, so like they're never gonna have like black girlfriends or brown girlfriends, you know what I mean? That's not a thing. They like white women, and that's not a problem, because I also feel like most of the people with integrity don't like them either. So it's kind of like Kappa Cali. I don't really. Yeah, I don't know. So, uh, no, I was gonna say something. I forgot. Yeah. Hmm. Well, yeah, I'll just, yeah, whatever. The point is like, girls need someone to be. Taylor Swift is a hero in the girl community. Her feelings and thoughts about quite a lot. She's written about relationships that she's had in the past, but it sounds like she's just been very private with her relationships, which I think is a very good thing. It sounds like Selena Gomez might, I don't know if this is true, but she might have been concerned that she's being so public and open with her relationship with Travis Kelce. Um, I think that they're in a healthy relationship. I don't feel like it's an issue that they are both just out together doing the things that they're going to do. Like the paparazzi are everywhere, and those people are pretty high profile. I would say though that like Taylor Swift is just like she's on a different level. Like it's like her and Beyonce are on a playing field that's just, it's like an atmosphere there. Like, so it's like maybe her, Rihanna, okay, like like maybe like Kendall Jenner, um they're all in this like place that's, they're just like way more famous than like everyone else on planet Earth. And so like whatever they do is going to be like magnified, because I know a lot of people think that like what girls say doesn't matter, and like don't listen to these girls are stupid and all this shit, right? The thing is, like, the women, any woman who's saying something, she's saying it for a reason. Even if she's only had like one experience with like one guy, that experience is still relevant. It's like real, it's valid. There's some guy who's probably still in society, okay, who caused her to have that experience. And like other women would like to know, like, what the guy did so that they are aware, first of all, that this is possible and that it could happen to them, and they try to take preventative steps to not do that. That's why you see older women coming on here being like, my advice to younger women, how to deal with this, dating advice. The younger women who are on here who are like, who seem to be giving dating advice, it's really stupid. Like, I think it's maybe a good thing that they're coming with their like bad takes. They're like kind of irrational takes, just so that other people can come in the comments and like correct them. Because I guess like everyone's worldview is like true to an extent, but like some people have just had so little lived experience that it's like, this doesn't even make any fucking sense. And that's a part too of like where mental health becomes really scary. Like if you are around an entire community, and I see this a lot with like black women, and it's really hard just because so many things are like racialized in the black community. So like what I mean by that, or it's not just in the black community, in society in general, it's super racialized. So you have like black community and then you have like white community. But when you have certain stuff that's like super normalized in the white community and you don't have any black people who've even seen this, that's what I'm saying. Like counterculture is like predominantly made up of like black American literal counterculture. Like even the idea of like a, what is it, like a hood princess and then like a price tag princess. I don't know, because there's like a real economic term called like a cost of living, and we have like real sociological terms like social class. So I'm not sure what they're saying with like the price tag princess, because there's another concept that's like purity politics and people saving themselves for marriage. Then there's another concept like marriage markets, like how to choose who to marry and why you make that choice. There are books and topics and lectures about all of those topics. Like now you have all the dating coaches or whatever. Like it seems like everyone is kind of talking about it. My point to really everyone is like, especially to women, I think women over everything need to prioritize safety and stability. Like safety and stability have to continue to be like your number one priority. And I think that before you could even possibly think about like a relationship or like children, you have to like continue to validate your own safety and security. And that is very difficult because men are doing things in society to try to like test the waters, basically to see like how upright they need to be in order to get what it is that they want from women. Some men have done this with money. So they're like, I can give this OnlyFans girl this amount of money and she will do this. I can take this girl on this expensive date and then she will do this. And a lot, like to an extent, that is true. Like women are just doing things for money. So the men who give them more and more money, then they do more and more things for the money. It just, to me, it just makes more sense for every person to have a job, especially women. Like women need to have jobs because if you have a job, then you understand how much things cost, and you pay for hopefully a job in an apartment. It allows you to know like how much things cost and like what you could do with the amount of money that you have. It kind of like puts you in your place in society by brute force. And that's necessary. I feel like to an extent that's something that males might be lacking because like they aren't forced to do something in society. They're just kind of like floating around. And then I think on the other side of that with the hood princesses or whatever, they also are just kind of floating around, I guess, the hood. Because like I said, there's just not an unlimited amount of women in the world. There's like a small amount of women in the world, and like all men are just kind of fighting each other for the women. I'm just saying women, anyone here with a vagina, right, is like a woman. And I think it's really difficult to watch, but in the black community, I think there's just been a real misunderstanding of like the value of like black women and their necessity in terms of like life. And because that value has been so diminished, and because black men specifically have done nothing to like preserve the value now is gone along with the life. What I'm saying is basically like the devaluation of black women has led to the abortion of black children, and therefore the like cessation of black life. Like that, I made the last video I made, which, you know, I don't know. I understand my videos are long and I totally ramble, but I do make factual points, and I do think that they're factual points that a lot of people miss. Like that statistic is very shocking, and it concerns me that more people aren't like aware of the numbers. Like the number of black people in the country has gotten so small that Stanford can't even calculate a stat of like they can't produce any new statistics because the sample size of the black population is statistically irrelevant. That is really sad. Okay, like I think that for where in the black community, black women having cats in apartments is like a really positive start because it's way better than death. Let black women just have an apartment and a car and a cat. Like an apartment and a cat is like life goals. I don't think that like right now we're in a place where we you can think about men. Yeah, I don't feel like that is a sustainable goal for the preservation of black female life. In what I have seen, okay, that is not the case. And I'm interested in like preserving my own life. And I feel like to an extent I have had to make uh real like choices and strategies to try to enable my future to be somewhere to to live in a society where I will be able to sustain my black female life without the fear of harm from white supremacy. Um, there's a lot to say, but yeah, I have another topic I want to cover, so I'm going to